welcome to a brand new Cosmic Human Design podcast. That's right, we are back. I'm back from vacation. I took a little trip to Florida, and I am back. It was nice and hot down there. Sometimes it felt like 109, it said. That's nothing. Jaren's used to all that in those tropical climates he's in.
I came north. I was going to say I came from Puerto Rico to Florida, so I went north.
Yeah, everybody's moving around right now, huh? Richard, you moving around at all?
Not too much.
He's in the same spot. All right. All right, everybody. Yes, this is the Cosmic Human Design Podcast. We are God's blueprint. That is right. We are using the human design that's been around a very long time. It's excellent stuff. But Richard and Jarin came up with the idea that, hey, wait a minute, it's not following the right astrology. And they went through, they fixed the astrology, and now we got the Cosmic Human Design, which is your correct sign. And then you move into the human design charts, and you can use all their stuff. So it's a really excellent thing we've done here, and it's groundbreaking, earth-shattering, cutting edge. That's right, everybody. Amazing stuff. Of course, we've got JARIN KENYON here. He is a traveling motivational speaker, manifestation teacher, and cosmic human design coach. He likes to move around a lot, as we said. And how are you doing tonight, JARIN?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for tonight. Looking forward to it.
And of course, we have the Yale graduate. That's right, everybody. Yale. Wow. Richard Mason. And he went through and did all the mathematics for this new cosmic human design system. And he's loving it. He's finding that everybody's in harmony with this and having a great time. Richard, how are you?
Yeah, doing great, Greg. Nice to be back for another episode. Hope we have lots of people tuning in. This is a great opportunity to ask any questions you might have about cosmic human design. You know, we look at the chat board and we respond to those questions. So go ahead and write something in there.
Yeah, good point. We have a live chat board up right now. You can't write to us on Rumble, but you can write to us on YouTube and Facebook and all the different other places. But Rumble's not connected to this, but I will check that later and see what you guys had said over there if you're watching on Rumble. Otherwise, go over to youtube.com/Cosmic Human Design and subscribe, and then you'll know when we're on all the time. This is an every other Wednesday thing. We come on, we talk about Cosmic Human Design and many other things. We dive into the I Ching and you know, these guys have deep knowledge of human design, yes, but many other subjects. And I've called Richard out in his photographic memory before on how he can just pull things out of his memory and just talk about like he's an encyclopedia. So it's pretty amazing to watch. So good evening, everybody. And what we'd like to do is start off with a video. So we're going to start off with a little TikTok here and see what this is all about.
Split definition means there are two components of your chart that are not connected. So on this chart, you can see that the ego center and the throat are connected, and then the G center, the sacral, the spleen, and the root are all connected. So it's almost like we have two separate islands of energy. When you're split, you might take longer to process things. There will be people that bridge your split, and that just depends on what gates bridge your split. You can either be a small split and only have a few gates bridge your split, or a wide split and have lots of gates that bridge your split. I believe that the phrase "you complete me" was originated probably from a split definition person. It's about half of the population, because split definition people will feel more complete when they're around somebody who bridges their split. That being said, it doesn't mean that you are not okay without anybody else.
All right. So that was a pretty interesting one right there. I think the "you complete me" statement, we've all heard that before. I know that, you know, when we get together as a team here, we certainly do bridge each other's energy zones here. What do you guys think about that? Do you think this is true? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Well,
go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's just to add to that video a bit, there's several different types of definitions. She mentioned the split definition. Now there's several different kinds of split. There's the simple split, which is what she was talking about, where you have two different islands of energy. But then there's also, even further than that, there's what's called a triple split and a quadruple split, where, you guessed it, you have 3 islands, or at the extreme case, 4. Even you can have up to 4 different splits. And that's very rare, less than 1%, but it's still a possibility. And then, of course, the other possibility is the single definition, which the single definition where you don't have any splits, and the split definition are by far the 2 most common types of definition that we do have. And like she said, the phrase "you complete me" was probably originated by a split definition person. That's also perhaps the reason why we have a tradition of marriage in our society, is because there's so many people who it really does feel like they're being completed by another, that they find. One of the characteristics of a split definition, besides what she said, yes, you may take slightly longer to process things because your energy centers need to come into alignment, because they're not connected, by default. And, for example, the triple split, they get those connections not from a single person, but from, for example, going out, walking down the street, doing work in a coffee shop type of thing. So yeah, there's many different types of definitions, and they can tell you quite a lot about the person's energy.
And I'm glad she says at the end that, just because you happen to have a split, it doesn't mean you can't be okay by yourself. That's important to say, because I've heard that before, where things can become overly exaggerated. But I think everything Richard said is, spot on, and what you need to know. Everything is about, electromagnetic charges, and whether you have, the masculine or feminine, or let's just say the physical and then the gap, however we want to look at it, and through DNA resonance. And so what you're speaking here to me of, when you're talking about the splits, they have to do with your channels, right? So there's a consistent charge in you. There's a consistent energy flow. And when there are 2 different islands, or 3 or 4, like Richard said, then, there's going to be a high receptivity of amplification of, like, seeing your mate. So the one that's missing, or the 2 that's missing, it's seeking its mate. It's seeking its mate for the gifts to come out, for the energy to follow through. And so, it's kind of a quantum leap, when you have correct people, when things are done ideally, always in a higher vibration. So in a gift state of the gene keys as we speak, instead of the shadows, because that could fire it really badly the wrong way, right? But ideally in a good state, you're going to have acceleration in all kinds of, positive feelings and hormones and results and whatnot, with the right combination amidst the right people. And I have seen people with triple splits, that are fulfilled by one person. It can be, it's not as common, but, if you have the right combination, these kind of things, can happen for sure. But for those out there that are split, because there's a lot of you, don't think that means you can't be independent, especially, hermits out there, for example. I mean, it's why you got to look at the whole picture of your cosmic design. You need to look at the whole picture and really, dive into the complexity of it, yet make it simple, right? Don't keep it complex. Don't be over exaggerated about it, but make it simple and realize how it fits for you personally.
I love this, because what it looks at is the future. And you talk about the future internet of human beings, Jarin. And what it tells you is, now we can look at something and say, okay, relationships, right? Relationship matching. Perhaps this could be a way of helping you find a mate that's going to, complete certain areas of you. Or in business, when you're trying to build a business, you need certain people are going to synergize with you. So you could do so many statistics with this and figure out a lot of math equations that could really help humanity build great teams together, besides having great coaches like you guys who look at people and can tell what they're about and match them with other people that maybe through your community or whatever. But that is the pretty amazing thing when that gets on a phone and it's an app, and you can start matching with people around your community, even like a Facebook, right? You can match people that are going to help synergize you in certain areas. I wonder if that's a thing that could happen.
Yeah, Greg, I think that's coming. Whether I'm going to program that or someone else is going to program that, that's definitely something I like to do with Cosmic Human Design, and make an actual app on the phone where it has relationship compatibility is going to be one of the main applications. I feel like, there's so many people using these dating apps nowadays, but they're not very effective. That's the thing. These dating apps, it has one variable. How do they look? How does someone look? Realistically, that's what it is. There's been sites that try and do all these different questions and stuff, but that I don't think that's very effective.
Well, you can't lie about your human design chart or cosmic human design chart, but you can lie about your profile. So, people aren't honest about themselves, and a lot of people don't even know themselves that well. So when they write these things, it's not the truth. It's only their perspective of who they are. Exactly. But the design itself, you can't lie about. It's who you are. And so that's where you can really match. Go ahead, Jaron.
Yeah, and going off of what Richard said, the other thing about it is, even if it was, to me, any of the other systems that I've seen out there that I actually, align to, that has some cosmic truth to it, it's going to be only on a personality level test, and this is why we love cosmic design is, aside from many factors, is it brings in your body's intelligence, your body's awareness, and your design, not just the personality. So there are other things. I've seen cards, the Magi system from Egypt, which goes back to Atlantis. And that's, to me, another accurate, amazing thing. But it's only the birthday. So it's only the personality. It doesn't bring in the, inner workings of the subconscious, or I even like to call, in a sense, the soul. And so this is what cosmic design can do. And then taking this opportunity by design to say, besides an app, it is amazing for businesses. I have personally taken it into a company of, we worked with 80 employees on their design about 10 years ago. But of course, it was with the inaccurate tropical astrology. And so now we have that opportunity with the truth of this cosmic design. So for anybody out there that has a business or knows of anybody with a business that wants to discuss opportunities, the team here can provide opportunities to bring cosmic design into the corporation itself.
Yeah, and what a gift that would be, putting people where they are supposed to be and the happiest, and where they're going to perform the best, instead of putting a square in a circle, right, so to speak. And it just doesn't work. Someone is in a leader's position or a CEO's position, even there, and doesn't really resonate with that position. They struggle in that position where you could put somebody else in there that's going to just fly immediately. They just are meant or born to be that. And so a much different scenario there. And so pretty interesting what you can do with this cosmic human design system and the future of what it can be. What I wanted to talk about quickly before we move on to, we got the daily today, and we also have something that Richard has prepared for us, which has to do with dragons, I believe. So this will be interesting. But I want to talk about a projector, who's myself, who went on vacation with the family, right? And what it was, my experience as a projector in that area. So as a projector, I know that I need some space, right? I need alone time. I need time for me to process things, for me to just take a walk away from things, to just be out in the woods, or it doesn't really matter. Even in the shower can be a break enough for me to just be able to process my own inner workings and to be able to then be in front of people again. Because as Jarin says a lot, people are always there conditioning you. You're under condition at all times. And so when you're speaking and talking and conversating and trying to make decisions and all these type of things, you have all of this other things going on. You have, now I was on vacation with 5 of us. So there was 4 other people in the group that were there conditioning me. Now, are they intentionally being a pain? No, of course not in most cases. But as a projector, it's hard because you are somebody who wants to come up with ideas. And when you do come up with ideas, you like to present them. And then when you are, when you're in the background and you don't feel like your ideas or even yourself is being recognized or even, you know, somewhat, I guess, feeling loved, like, wow, you have great ideas, Mr. Projector. You feel like you are just struggling. You feel like you have low energy. You just feel like you're getting frustrated, and you may have a blowout. You know, you may just get mad for no reason, and they go, what happened to you? Why are you so mad? You know, because there's no reason why they think you should be mad, but you're frustrated. And so there's a lot of that going on. So for me, the only time I could really get away was in the morning time. So I got up early and I would go for a walk and I would go explore. I love exploring, so I would just explore where we were staying. I would go find things that were like, I found the gym. I went to the gym. I did things for myself in the morning. And so I took a couple hours. If I had a couple hours without anybody bothering me, I would take a couple hours and I would go explore and do things. That helped me quite a bit. Day after day after day, being on vacation with all of this conditioning going on. Jarin, I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit more on what the projector goes through and maybe what was going on my vacation.
Well, you know, my initial response to you, Greg, is also you had mentioned to me prior, and I know how you are, you know, as a busy, creative, work-oriented projector, that not only did you know, go away and work out or go away and walk or whatever, that I would notice even, you know, with our work that we're doing and all these different things that we have going on, that you would get into your creative work, right? And your creative work and what you love in the world as far as a purpose sense and expressing your creative talents, that would give you the centering, the refuel, and then probably the ability to be even more receptive going forward for the next segment of time. That's where I'd like to take that perhaps and see how that was for you. Yeah,
absolutely. I noticed myself, even if I was waiting in the airport for, you know, an hour or something like that, I would, amazing technology we have in our hands, right? I was able to create things that I could do on my phone, my programs that I would use on my phone, and I would actually create a bunch of things. I would send them over to Jarin or whatever, and just have them check them out. And what it would do also is when I'm sending them to Jarin's looking at them, Jarin's giving me feedback, which is nice for a projector to get that respective feedback, right? That thing that's coming back to me, and I'm going, okay, all right, I need to approve this, and this, and it'll be good. So I do that, I give it to you, you see it, you go, yeah, it looks good, man. That is what a projector wants to hear. Now I can move forward. I've completed the project. And so that is something that's very important to me. And it kept me on a level ground. It kept me feeling good in my own projector suit.
Great.
So,
yeah.
Good stuff there. Richard, do you have anything else to add about what I was going through and maybe some of the things I could have done?
Greg, one of the characteristics of the projector, just by definition, is that they're very sensitive. They're very sensitive to their environment. You know, the projector, they're similar to the reflector in many ways, in that they have a lot of open centers on their chart. And Greg, I think you have 2 defined centers and the rest of them are open. So that's all those areas are where you're receiving, where your receiver antenna is, you know, turned up, you know, to 11. So, yeah, I think some of the things you're describing could be the result of, you know, you're so sensitive to these various stimuli that, you know, you have to go be yourself for a time, you know, afterwards, to clear that from your system, you know, because, you know, whoever you're around, you're gonna wind up picking up a lot of their energy, you know. And one of the things that could help you with that as well is to, remain focused on your work, for example. That's another thing with projectors, is that they are known for being skillful at many different things, you know, in part because they are so sensitive. They're able to focus their aura. You know, the projector has a focused and absorbing aura. So it's like you're able to, you know, shine a laser light on something and just totally focus in on it. Either that, or you're at the mercy of your environment, and it's just bombarding you.
Yeah, especially when you in big crowds with a lot of people around you, and definitely, you know, those long days where you're out at an amusement park or something. It's a task for sure.
You know, I love this conversation in the sense of us talking about conditioning. You know, like if I were, you know, personally, like, going to make a list of, let's say, the 9 things that are most important within this ascension, right? Well, guess what? Cosmic human design would be one of them for people to change the world and change their life. Intention is another one, because if you set intentions in the morning, your whole day will be different than if you just run into your past. So that's the other one. But conditioning is definitely a big one, for not for bad, not for good, just what it is. And so, you know, Richard gave you a good illustration of, you know, the aspect of a projector, along with everybody that's got centers that are undefined. Not everybody, but most of us have centers that are undefined, and what that means by people that are defined around us. And, you know, for you generators and manifesting generators out there, or manifestors as well, speaking to generators and manifesting generators, okay, so the projectors and reflectors are especially getting conditioned sacrally, you know, no matter what, in the life force energy. But as a generator and a manifesting generator, you are pulling everything into your environment and into you. In fact, not your environment, but to you. You're pulling the environment into you. So, for example, if a manifesting generator has an undefined emotional center and someone around them has an emotional, you're really pulling those emotions in. So MGs as well, generators as well, you know, everybody, to understand where you're being conditioned just as much as you know where you're conditioning, and then knowing to feel, like, to sense your barometer of what needs to be adjusted. Sometimes we can move away from it, which is usually my recommendation, but sometimes we can't. And sometimes we have to embrace and move through it with communication or whatever else needs to happen, so that our vibrations are more matching, you know, and so that we're in a higher level of the DNA, you know, resonance that the Gene Keys talks about. And so conditioning is a huge topic.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that was a fun one. And that was, I hope people understood that I wanted to give the example of on vacation or something like that, where you're in this environment where you can't control a lot of it, and you have to figure out ways of the best healthy way of making yourself you in moments where you're not being that conditioned human being and getting pushed in the direction that you don't want to go, and that just causes you to feel claustrophobic at times, and also feel like you're not being yourself. You're not being able to speak your mind, and so that could be very healthy for even relationships, right? Where you feel a little suffocated or whatever. Just find you, and everything will start working out a lot better. It's a simple equation, but it makes sense. So good stuff there. I thank you, gentlemen. All right, so we're going to get into the daily. So let me bring that up for everybody. And what do we got going on today, Richard?
Yeah, let's take a look here. We've got, yes, a lot of definition. A lot of definition today. In particular, one of the things that jumps out at me is the so-called integration circuit which is a kind of a, so, okay, so we've got the body graph, right? We've got the different centers and channels, but then there's also circuits, which you can further break them down into, because in a way, this does look like a circuit board. And indeed it is a circuit board map of the chi energy. And these different circuits have different characteristics. And the integration circuit, it's actually one of the smaller ones, but it's one of the most important because it is all about self-empowerment. In the integration circuit, it's made, it's on the, it's kind of on the left side towards the center there. It's made up of the 20, the 10, the 34, and the 57. And so it's those four. Yeah, Greg's pointing them out there. And then the 57 is on the spleen to the left.
Up here.
And so they all kind of come together. They all connect to each other. And you can actually form so many channels out of those four gates. And today we have 3 of them activated. We've got the 20, the 57, and the 34. So, and they're all, you know, active today. They're all in the personality. So what does that mean? Well, it means that today, perhaps you're going to feel a greater sense of self-empowerment. Because what this channel is talking about is it's your own ability, your individual ability to survive as yourself. That's what it is empowering. So people who have some of these channels, or the entire circuit even, those are going to be particular people who, one way or another, they're going to be able to survive in the world somehow. They're going to be able to do what needs to be done somehow, some way, in order to, you know, preserve their own individuality. And, you know, in general, people with these channels as well, with this circuit, you know, this is purely a self-empowering energy. So the energy in this circuit, if you have it, it means it's for you. It's for you only. It's not really there to be shared. It can't be shared, actually. That's something that perhaps the people around you will notice and want in on, you know, they'll want a piece of this energy, but it's for your own self-empowerment, your own survival. And it can't, you know, really be given or shared with others. So that's a unique property of this circuit. And even in the sun, we have one of the gates in that circuit, the 20, which is in the throat center. So the 20, it's the gate of the now, of you know, awareness in the now. It's a very presence. Almost like, yeah, presence is the gene key, right? Presence is the city. And then you've got self-assurance being the gift.
It's the gift, yes, exactly.
So self-assurance comes from, you know, the now, this awareness in the now that, hey, I can do it. You know, I'm going to be able to find the words I need to find when I'm speaking. You know, from somewhere, they're just going to come to me. That's self-assurance. And at the higher frequency, the city of presence, we see what that's actually talking about is the presence of, you know, the cosmos within you, the presence of the sage within you. This, you know, archetypally good presence that is flowing through everything, really. And in the I Ching, the 20 is also called seeing. And what that means is it's about seeing in the now. You know, whenever it is that you are seeing something clearly, you can't help but be in the now moment. And you just see things so clearly. You know, it's about seeing clearly.
Wow.
So, And you notice the 20, its programming partner is the 34. The Earth we see is in the 34, which is also part of the integration circuit. And this is the characteristic manifesting generator channel, because it goes from the sacral directly to the throat. So you're getting that generator energy to the throat to be manifested. That's where the name manifesting generator comes from this channel. And the 34, it's all about power. It's all about power. And we can see that it's in the sacral. So it's the sacral power that is, you know, the shadow of it is force. So blunt force is the lowest frequency, you know, that type of power. But then the gift is strength of spirit, strength of self, strength of character, you know, that type of power. And then majesty is the city as well. So, you know, it's very concerned with how we are using our own power, you know, and the 20 to 34 is about using that power in the now to be productive, to be energetic, you know, that's why it's called the channel of charisma sometimes, because you just have all this energy, you know, that you're manifesting directly. And it's like, whoa, other people are like, whoa, I want a part of that energy. And so that makes you charismatic in their eyes, you know, because it's like you're always doing something. You know, sometimes it's called the gate of busyness as well, because you're always busy with something. So today is a day when, yeah, you might seem very busy. You know, it might seem like you have lots of things that you're doing that you need to do. And
now, Richard, asking a question, I see that it's the 20 and the 34 are in the 0.6 today. So that means we're roughly right on the 6th day of this or so.
Right.
Right. So this has been going on, not just today, but specifically the 20 to 34, this energy of, you know, self-perseverance and self-generation and self-accomplishment and individuality to get there, to make it happen, whether it's accomplishing something or whether it's just being seen in the right way. We're on, you know, roughly a week in, correct?
Yeah. For the past entire week, we've had this energy going on.
So, you know, for me personally, looking at this chart, you know, I have the 20 to 34 a couple times in my chart. So it's interesting to me because I was going to relate a story about design that I'm not going to do quite yet. Just a short one instead now of how my feelings with this is, I think, and Greg's going to know this, actually Richard will too, from like 2 days ago, where I was so in the now and I could see so clearly that I was expressing it. And in fact, I expressed it to both of you about future dates for things. And I'm not concerned with the date or what will manifest, but in the moment, I felt like I was already there. Like I didn't even have to think. I was already knowing the answer without thinking. I was already into the future without having to go be there. And I knew that I had this power that was pulling it in like right now. And I had this inner desire to manifest it and express it. Now, of course, that's what the MG does. And that's what I have consistently. But for all of us, and that even includes myself being right at home in that energy, you know, I'm going to feel right at home if you got that channel. But all of us have been feeling somewhat of that urge over the past 6 days. So I just wanted to relate my personal experience because all the other parts that Richard mentioned, I was aware of, but the part about seeing clearly in the now, that one really hit me. And that's exactly what I experienced a few days ago. And what's the point? Not me. The point is this stuff is amazing. It's right on point. And if you check in with your sensitivities to things, it's mind blowing the simulation we're in. But the simulation can be used either for good or bad in multiple timelines and multiple variations and multiple Earths. It's how you tune in yourself with it and use it and ride the cosmic tides and waves that will dictate what experience it is you're having, both in the now and in what you're, you know, causing and producing to happen going forward. And Richard talking about self-preservation, or, you know, the beginning to this about the individuality and to be able to survive and the self. You know, Greg was discussing that a little bit within his story about what his experience was, but why is also because he was feeling that, you know, inner urge because of the transit to be that and to need to be that and to not just kind of go along and give in.
Yeah, for sure. This is very interesting. It makes you think back to, you know, your last week and the things you've been doing. And I certainly went ahead, and I'm weeks ahead in promos and stuff. So I had visions of weeks ahead of what I wanted to put down and make, which doesn't usually happen at all. I don't usually make, I usually do week.
And you were busy too, right?
Yes, I was very busy. Yes.
It started when you started the vacation and ended when basically you got back.
I know. It wanted me busy during vacation. And I did a lot of stuff. There was a lot of editing and creations and many things that happened. So pretty interesting that one of my busiest times where I'm doing all kinds of stuff is where I'm also creating a lot of stuff at the same time. All right. I guess it was really true. What was going on here in the stars? Pretty amazing, guys, when you really start to dive into this stuff. All right.
Richard's got dragons for us tonight, so I'm excited for this one.
Let's get to that. Let me just grab it. Just gotta set it up here real quick, and we'll get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, the cosmos and the dragon. Listen. I have a special love for dragons, so this will be really awesome. And what a picture that is, Richard. What do you got for us?
Yeah, the cosmos and the dragon. What is the dragon? Well, the dragon is this, force. And is it the Bible that talks about a dragon, or, that we're going to have to fight a dragon, basically to bring in the new world or whatnot. And this describes for us exactly what that dragon is. So let's take a look here. And there we can see the dragon, within the cosmos, but it's kind of like a shadow, it's an apparition. It's not really there. So keep that in mind as well. So we return to the Cosmic I Ching and hexagram 1, the very first hexagram, which of course encapsulates the entire I Ching. If you wanted to sum it up with just one hexagram, it would be the first one, of course, which is called the cosmic consciousness, it's only called that in this new version of the I Ching, by the way. It's usually called something like the creative, or the creative power of heaven. That's a common theme for it as well. Confucius said, great indeed is the creative generating power of heaven. So we're talking about, what is it actually? The cosmic consciousness, that consciousness which is everywhere. And here I have some quotes from this hexagram. And we'll see what the dragon is about very shortly there. So because of the interference of the ego, humans have been given the I Ching to show them the cosmic way and to help them discern which thoughts and actions are in harmony with the cosmos and which come from the ego, the dragon. The cosmic consciousness is eternal, perpetual, and without direction in time. Time is another part of the prison. This is why it can always be found and revealed in this very moment. The purpose of this hexagram is to show the true nature of the cosmic consciousness and how the collective ego competes with it through its institutions. So if you've ever read any of David Icke's books, he talks about this archontic force, which is behind everything, really. And I believe that and the collective ego are one and the same thing. So keep all of that David Icke stuff in mind when we're talking about this, because they all link together. Just as the individual ego is a false self that oppresses and sacrifices a person's true self, The collective ego is a false ordering created by institutionalized beliefs and societal myths that oppress and sacrifice what would otherwise be the natural order of society. Just as the true self, which is in accord with the cosmos, constantly benefits from its help, so would the natural order of society be guided and helped by the cosmic consciousness. What prevents this symbiosis is the constant attempt of the collective ego to deny the existence of the cosmic consciousness and put its own institutions in its place. So that's what we're seeing. I mean, in a way, that's what this entire world situation right now is all about. It's about this collective ego and its institutions, the various governments of the world, basically. And the institutions, the universities, for example, the network of corporations. That's all part of what we're talking about here. Like
tropical astrology.
Tropical astrology. I believe that's another one as well. So each line of hexagram 1 presents the dragon as a metaphor for the collective ego and its accumulated ideas that seek to control the life of the individual. That's what this is all about, is control of the individual. And David Icke says that same thing very much in his books. How what's really going on is this development of this global control system, the global state, the new world order. That's what this is. And, we can analyze it in these terms and not just talk about all the conspiracy theories, through this I Ching. So, each line of this hexagram is a metaphor and involves something to do with the dragon. So these definitions conflict with the real purpose of human life, which is for each individual to fulfill his uniqueness instead of the empty idea of being special. And that's the way that everyone contributes to the evolution of the cosmic whole. Because the collective ego is a composite of mental constructs that depends upon the energies of each individual, it's parasitic in nature and ultimately destructive to the life force of the individual and to the whole of nature. Wow. So this societal order that has been established, all the governments, the corporations, the banking system, all of that, it's saying it's destructive to the individual and to the whole of nature, actually. The lines of hexagram 1 show in their sequence how the individual ego is led to develop itself from an imp into a dragon. This is very interesting. The final step is shown in line 4, where the person has wholeheartedly internalized the values of the collective ego and become its hero, who in turn enforces its values. Line 5 sees his fantasy, sees him flying high in the heavens as his reward. The lines thus show how a person splits himself off from the cosmic unity through the creation of the ego and through accepting the myth that he is special and superior. So you can view all of these lines, which we're about to go over, as a metaphor for the development in your own self of the individual ego and how it starts small but grows into this large dragon, quote unquote dragon, that can then control you. Line 1, hidden dragon. Do not act. In the broad and general sense, the hidden dragon refers to the collective ego, which has presented its institutions and values as, quote, the only source of solutions. This idea serves to divert people from recognizing its dragon nature and obscures the fact that the cosmos is the true source of all their needs. And, this is how many times do you even hear the word cosmos in everyday life? Not very often. Because the collective ego is constantly trying to deny the existence of the cosmos. And so that you have to depend on it. You have to go to its doctors. You have to go to its schools. You have to be told what to do. You have to go to its jobs and all these things. Line 2, dragon appearing in the field. It furthers one to see the great man. This line counsels how to respond when the ego, the dragon, begins to appear in another. The great man refers to the sage that accompanies every person. So it furthers one to see the great man, to see the sage in every person. When the ego in them starts to appear, you can actually counteract that by instead seeing the sage in them, and removing all the negative thoughts you have of them, because those negative thoughts will only make their ego more powerful. Line 3, all day long, the superior man is creatively active. At nightfall, his mind is still beset with cares. Danger, no blame. The sage is informing a person not to approach his effort at self-correction or correcting anything ambitiously, as if it were a religion, whereby he ignores his normal life. So, yeah, don't do anything too ambitiously, because ambition is a characteristic of the ego. And so if you do something ambitiously, you're only empowering the ego in it. And line 4, dragon casting about. Here, the ego in a person has become a dragon through internalizing all the values of the collective ego and upholding them as its defender. He even believes his purpose is to judge others on its behalf. In doing so, he casts spells on them. How many people do you know like this who have, quote unquote, internalized these values of the collective ego? I mean, we don't really think about it in those terms in everyday life, like, hey, that guy's thinking in terms of the collective ego over there, but that's really what's going on. It's just that those things have become so commonplace in many different people that we forget to think that, hey, this is actually from an insidious force that is
what you're saying, Richard, is that they're worshiping, valuing, and reinforcing the matrix, or parasitic beings, or hell.
Absolutely.
The Mr. Smith effect.
Yeah. Let's go to line 5 here. Line 5, flying dragon in the heavens. It furthers one to seek out one's true nature, because it's not that. Flying dragon in the heavens represents the fantasized rewards promised by the collective ego if a person sacrifices his true self, as indicated in lines 3 and 4. That's ultimately what the collective ego wants you to do. Sacrifice your true self for its false self. And then it gets your chi energy if you do that. In ancient China, the reward was immortality. Oh, well, you'll be immortal, if you do this throughout your life. This line indicates a person in whom spiritual ambition has reached its peak. It advises him to undertake the effort to return to his true nature in order to undo the fate he has created. And line 6, the last one here, arrogant dragon leads to humiliation. Afterwards, a new beginning is possible. Arrogant dragon can refer to a person who, after recognizing the true nature of the collective ego, still holds to its values out of fear of losing his titles and honors. So many people like that too. Oh, well, I've got a good position here. I can't let anything get in the way of that, The law of fate is also demonstrated in all those situations where people have declared a ship to be unsinkable or a building to be indestructible, or when those small back of the mind thoughts say, now I am secure, or I finally got things where I want them. All such thoughts are human-centered and have to do with wanting to fix things in a certain position in time and place. All such fixing leads to rigidity and decay. This line may also indicate that through correcting himself, a person has ended his fate and invoked the cosmic principle of transformation. This leads to a new beginning in his relationship with the cosmos. So basically, the summary of this last line, arrogant dragon leads to humiliation, is that it is the arrogant will be debased. They will be overturned, and that's what we're seeing in everyday life now, where we're seeing all these people, all these so-called leaders, in our society, facing humiliation, even though the media is not talking about it. but that's what's happening. So, yeah, this entire hexagram is, about how the dragon of the ego develops in a person and in society as a whole.
Sorry, Greg.
Oh, what happened? Oh, you moved.
I switched us. Keep going. I switched us.
I think I was done with.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. I know Greg's got to fix that. So I'll just jump in here quick and say also, as we've always talked about playing with words, right? And upgrading some of the content of everything, or at least, looking at it perspectively. I love how it's talking about ambition as a negative word, because it's true by the majority of how people may act or think due to the dragon itself. But you can also flip it and say that dragon or that parasite that's draining your energy, sometimes it takes your ambition within yourself to overcome it, to stop the habits, to stop giving your energy away, to put the energy in the things that you need to do or want to do. And as well, just saying ambition in general. I mean, the Gene Keys talks about the hidden purpose stored in our DNA, right? The purpose, so we all have a purpose, which is fulfilling for the whole and for our experience. And so evolution is pushing us forward, but we can be inhibited and stopped by the Mr. Smith effect and by anything that would be, negative or illusion around us. So I do believe that, especially in this ascension, we all have a motivation and an ambition to evolve, to become the butterfly, to become the light body, to be able to do everything we ever wished in this world. So I just wanted to take an opposite effect on this and say that ambition is an awesome thing. It's how you're channeling it, how you're using it, and how you're viewing it. If it's coming from the heart and higher mind, that you're able to grasp, at least, because you never really always ever get to the top, but then that's ambitious in a positive way. But ambition to feed the ego and collective ego is a completely different thing. And that's how the majority of the race has been living. And the majority of the 80% or 60% or whatever you want to say that are still falling prey and not willing to give it up are doing. They're feeding that dragon with their ambition.
Yeah, this was very deep, Richard, and very rewarding seeing it broken down like that. And when you talk about when you come across somebody that has these behaviors, that you don't engage in them, that you are now looking for the sage and you're being very gentle. You're not engaging in what they want to do, which is an ego battle, because they want to feed off of you. They're going to feed off your chi. And like you had said before, energy vampires, they're taking your chi away. The whole system is set up so that you don't have chi at the end of the day. You're exhausted. So, this is what they're doing. And the more and more you realize this, and I have prime examples in my house or in my family or in my friends, I see it all the time. People who engage with these narcissistic people who are constantly looking for their attention, whether they're getting them angry, whatever they're doing, all day long these conversations go on. And people can't stop responding. They can't stop feeding the dragon. You're literally feeding the dragon constantly. And then you go, why did the dragon breathe fire on me again? Well, you fed the damn thing. You're not letting it starve. So it's, to me, when you're looking at it in this kind of realm, it's a very simple answer. Stop feeding it. The problem is when you're mixed up in it, in the karma of it, in the collective dragon that is going on, you've been indoctrinated by, you name it, everything that's been around you, you are automatically in this subconscious pilot that won't get you to stop. And it's going to take trauma to make you stop, unfortunately, or something that's very jarring. I mean, you look at people who have near-death experiences and they change because they're like, oh my God, they had to have that happen in order to step into the next place. They had to reset their program. It's unfortunate that a lot of people are stuck in these programs. And as much as you tell that friend, Get away from that abusive man or woman or whatever. And they won't stop going back 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Cops have been called. People have been, doesn't matter. They're still going back. And you're like, what is wrong with that person? Well, they are caught up in that karmic dragon, and they are all indoctrinated into it. And as much as the dragon is at fault, so is the person who's feeding the dragon. Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, no, and I'm just thinking, a negative experience that's built up so much energy and repeating, once it's clicked, realized, transmuted, engaged, it can be used to amazing positive growth. So many people will still get through this, let's just say. It's a relative statement, and get there. But just like we talked before, Richard was, several shows ago was talking about, walking dead people. There are some that are, when Greg's talking, it's because they're already so far gone, they can't come back. And that's because for many, they're steadily, whatever you want to call it, are steadily draining our energy to chi and everything else. But it's inevitably to take over the body as a host. It's to literally wipe out you, as in the human being, and take it over as the dragon's minions itself. So some are too far and some are not, and many will still be able to click back in, but you still have to become aware. And that's why understanding your major aspects of your cosmic gene keys help put you back on the golden path to be able to rise in the stairway to heaven, as opposed to just cruise on the highway to hell, which you think you're getting somewhere. You think you're getting somewhere, but you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, you keep punching the dragon in the mouth. And the dragon's just like, okay, yeah, I can take a punch. We breathe fire. Yes, exactly. And
draconic armor.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
and what a great example that is of what is going on in reality, what we've been living in. And as Jarin said, the more and more you learn about yourself, the inner workings of who you are, the more you can see this big picture of everything and make much better decisions each moment. And that's going to bring you into a glorious stairway to heaven, as Jarin has said. Amazing stuff there.
Well, I'm going to make this in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
To go off this, it kind of fits perfectly. I want to express, I had a dragon moment, let's say a few days ago, and now seeing that, the cosmic design had the 20 and 34 and other things that Richard mentioned, I could see even more energy to why. But I had one of those, and what I did is, personally, you feel it, you're in it, you have a choice. But in the now, I made a choice. And I made a little change in my life. And what it did is it compelled me to go after something. And make a change. Now, my point in this is the amazingness of the mechanics of cosmic human design. So, I jumped to the change, okay, then decided what I truly wanted in self-preservation, let's just say, and in the greatness of whatever I felt valued in at the time towards myself. And went towards that creation, wrote down the 9 steps, 9 things that I wanted through it. Then what happened is, as I was writing that 34 to 20 that everybody's had, and then I have within me, it compels you when you're in expression to sense your gut. You sense actions to take when you're in expression. So I was expressing through the writing. It propelled me into taking an action, a random one online that I normally would never do, in seeking what I was going after. Then I go to that random thing, find one person that I felt to message. That person then sets me up with exactly what it is that I was writing about, all within moments. It was on Tuesday, the new moon, during a Mars day, Mars aura, which is about taking action. You see, everyone, the point is the steps of energy that we can have, that we can trace back. Everything aligned. And I was amazed. Now, there's more responses. There's more aspects to my chart. The 14 of possession in great measure was something that resonated within my chart. Richard and I both have that. And, for a future time, it's the steps will take you. So it's magic, but it's magic in practical magic. That's why I call it calculated magic. The steps will take you. And then the end result is a bad situation so to speak. I channeled it, followed the design steps, and then almost a heroic type experience, personal to me, occurred that defies all logic in an instant. And if people lived by that, if we all learn to live by that, which isn't our mind, it's just the mind's awareness of the body's power and the cosmic rhythms, we all are going to create great things, which is going to go towards the future of freshness as opposed to the same things based on survival and this dragon in the past. But cosmic human design never proved itself more clearly to me than yesterday. It was amazing. And I wish for everyone to study theirs and start to use this calculated magic, because it really helps.
Wow, great story there. Very, very big message there. Follow your roadmap, and that'll bring you to some practical magic, as Jarin said. Really awesome stuff. That's great. Well, looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we are concluding our show here. That went quick, huh? We had some fun personal stories, and then, of course, the dragon half hour there. That was amazing. So I hope everybody enjoyed. If you missed some of the show, go back and watch it. This was really cool. You can pick up a lot of great stuff from it. Best
show ever created. This one was the best one ever done.
As many from our past, too. You can go back and watch all those. If you want to stay tuned, you want to go over to Rumble in a half hour. We will be going on live to do a collective manifestation, meditation, prayer half hour. So check us out at 9 o'clock over on Rumble as we do that. Me and Jarin and Gila will be joining us. So it'll be a really cool team to lead along everybody who's collectively going to be joining us doing this. So really cool stuff. And of course, check out Rise. We have lots of going on over there. So everything's on Rise Evolution over on Rumble. All right, everybody. We are on every other Wednesday. Remember, if you want your free chart, go to cosmichumandesign.com. And of course, you can find us on youtube.com/cosmichumandesign. And you can find us on Facebook as well. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next Cosmic Human Design.